Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Lavere, probably one of the better gentlemen from the other side, does need to understand that there is separation of powers. The government does not appoint judges and magistrates. It's appointed by the Judicial Services Commission. It's not a laughing matter. The Judicial Services Commission appoints judges and magistrates. And in fact, they made the recommendation, and they are appointed by His Excellency, our President. And you would have seen in today's papers, one of the local magistrates was appointed by His Excellency, the President, yesterday. Madam Speaker, the reality is that, as I mentioned, that expatriate judges and magistrates in Fiji are not a new phenomena. I have got a list of all the judges and magistrates going back to pre-87 and post-2001, and I can show you it many times. For example, the Court of Appeal in 2000, the Court of Appeal had about 15 people sitting on the bench, only one was a local. We have, of course, since then expanded the number of people who sit on the bench. High Court judges now we have about 20. And yet, the economy is growing, there's demand for judges and magistrates, and we've been facilitating that. And there's a need to fill that bench. The question really that should be asked, do we have people who fit the bill to be sitting on the bench? Not whether they're expatriate or not, whether they're local or not. They need to be able to be people who can fulfill the role of the magistracy and the judiciary. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary question, Honourable Sayed-Khaiyum.
Thank you, the Honourable Minister. And yes, we agree that that has been the practice in the last government. And Madam Speaker, bearing in mind that human resource specialists claim that human resource are the cutting edge in any organization. And also that overseas recruitment is always an expensive exercise, in as far as taxpayers' money is being used.
Question.
Therefore, Madam Speaker, hearing the government side always claiming to be the first, can I ask the Honourable Minister, as a sustainable measure in human resource development, what policies and strategies are in place to ensure that we have a pool of qualified judges to be able to fill these positions in future? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I suggest the Honourable Member read the Constitution. There's a basic requirement, qualifications, prerequisite qualifications, when a person can become a magistrate or a judge. She needs to read that. We're not here to educate them about that. The reality is, as we've said, of course, there were people who did not want to take up positions, because some politicians, of course, were advocating with Australia and New Zealand to put travel bans on people who took up positions in the judiciary. This is the reality, post-2006. Only recently the bans have been lifted. And there are some very courageous locals who came and took up positions, and we also went offshore because the judicial system had to work. Murder was being committed, rape was being committed, people had civil matters, contracts were being disputed. The judiciary needed to function. And there are some people, some politicians who they know who they are, and other people were trying to get Australia and New Zealand to put travel bans, and indeed they were successful. This shied, a lot of locals shied away from the magistracy then, and the judiciary then. Today we are building it up. I'm not here to give them figures, but if they look at the number of magistrates we have, then from the total cadre of magistrates, there are more locals than expatriates in the magistracy. They need to look at that. But the point is, Madam Speaker, they're bringing up such a question which does not have any intellectual basis to it. They should be asking about the system. They should be asking whether the system is working, whether the judiciary is independent, what are the constitutional provisions. They're simply going on expatriates. That's what they are doing. In the same way we had, Madam Speaker, an issue today about the doctors, specialist doctors, speech therapists, etc. Everybody recognized the need to have them, but we also said at the same time, we are giving scholarships, etc., to educate the locals, to bring them up to speed. In time to come, of course, that will happen.
Thank you. Supplementary, Honourable Rati Satikada.
Last year, I tabled documents to prove that you are interfering with laws in the judiciary. I tabled that. You know, And now my question is, I know, and the people know, that people are coming from abroad is being controlled by a good side. That is correct. Is it true or not? Because I've tabled the documents to say so. And that is yet to be proven. That will be tabled to the police. That I will do. Answer that.
Thank you. The question is disorderly in the House, and I will not allow answer to that question. I now give the floor to the Honorable Rodru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I note that the Honourable Minister in his explanation has even proposed a question to be put out from this side. The question, Madam Speaker, to the Honourable Minister is, do we have enough Fijian lawyers to be considered for the judicial positions, especially when we have reports that certain scholarship arrangements have been barred from for those who are pursuing their legal studies at the university because of the reports that there are so many lawyers. So the question is, do we have enough Fijian lawyers who can be considered in the judicial positions?
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have lots of lawyers in Fiji. The question again is, are there lawyers with integrity? Are there lawyers who meet standards? Are there lawyers who meet the minimum qualifications in the Constitution? To be a magistrate, you need to be a practicing lawyer for at least 10 years. Previously, you finished a law degree, you became a magistrate the next day. That's the type of thing that used to happen. Again, the question needs to be asked whether they are rightly qualified people or not, and people with integrity and meet the minimum skill sets. Thank you, Madam Speaker.